A warm welcome to the History Show here on Uxbridge FM. We're pleased as usual to welcome back Ken Pearce, Chairman of the Uxbridge Local History Society, with some more stories, local stories. Hi Ken.
Morning.
So your first one today is Market Day in Uxbridge in the 1830s. Here we go.
That's right, yes. In an earlier talk, I mentioned the recollections of Giles Hudson, a saddler and harness maker. I turn to him again for memories of Market Day, centred around, of course, our old market house. Let me quote. Thursday was Market Day, and early in the morning, even by 5 or 6 o'clock, the farmers' wagons laden with corn for sale began to arrive. Many of them came from a considerable distance, from Shepherd's Bush, Willesden, Edgware, Hendon in one direction, from Staines, Hounslow, Hampton and other places along the Thames. From Rickmansworth many came, from Charfont, Wickham and Amersham, and even some from the Oxfordshire border. At 8 o'clock, the first market bell was rung, when Lenten corn, that's oats, barley and other spring corn sown about the time of Lent, was offered. It was against the rules of the market for any corn to be sold before the ringing of the first bell. As the morning advanced, a large number of wagons were constantly arriving, loaded with wheat, and all of it was pitched in the marketplace, one sack upon another. The second bell was rung at 12 noon, giving notice that the sale of wheat might commence. The millers and the dealers assembled at that time, when a scene of great business activity ensued, lasting about 2 hours. The market was a very large one indeed, and at the time, one of the largest pitched markets in England, that is to say, one where the corn was brought in sack and all placed on the floor for sale. On one occasion, 2,752 sacks were offered for sale at a money value of £4,000. Well, that's Hudson himself. He added that a bushel measure made of bell metal and dated 1670 was used to test the bushels. And I'm glad to tell you that this object still survives today. It's being stored in the Civic Centre, awaiting the day when we acquire a borough museum. And it bears the spelling Uxbridge, Woxbridg. That's the latest time I've ever crossed where the old spelling with a W was still used, at 1670. But back to Giles Hudson's account. The large number of carts and wagons bringing corn from the neighbouring farms, or those from a distance, offered opportunities for the wives of labourers and for many other persons to come into town and do their shopping. On market day, the town was thronged with people who came to purchase. They could at once take home what they had bought by the returning wagons. Giles reports that much of the high street was lined with stalls on which bacon, oranges, fish, and almost every other article used by poor people for food could be bought. Near the church was a special enclosure used as a market for ducks, fowl, butter, and eggs, and another for fruit and vegetables. Hudson goes on to say the decline of the corn market may be accounted for in many ways. Large tracts of the best land, which formerly grew wheat, were used for market gardens, and other places that grew corn were laid down as meadow, and a considerable acreage was built upon. Let me add one final comment. The account refers to the ringing of the market bell. Have you noticed that bell still hangs under the dome of the clock tower on the market house? It's still there, even though it has not been rung for well over a century.
Ah, well, thanks, Ken. I can see maybe a local campaign being started here to ring the bell on a special occasion, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
How our shopping habits have changed as well. We now go to Sainsbury's, Tesco's and Lidl rather than the market stalls.
That's right. Or else we sit indoors and press some keys.
Yes, and get lots of cardboard arriving at our house.
Yes. Oh, dear.
All right, thanks for that one. Stay tuned. We've got more coming up. Thanks, Ken.